And thank you so much for the opportunity to be here this morning. It's so nice to get the opportunity to speak to students about the partnership. I was just telling Marius and Tinas that we deal with it so intimately, and I've been dealing it for about 2 years now. So I've eaten, sleep, breathe the partnership, and worked my way through 10 transaction agreements that constitutes this partnership. So for me, it's really exciting that it's all signed and sealed now. But I would like to go a few steps back and just give you a bit of a personal angle from my side on the partnership, which relates to the quality of education, and will hopefully answer some of your questions about that. I've been with Monash now for 9 years, so September it was 9 years. Previous to that, I was at the University of Johannesburg, so that's my alma mater. I did all my undergraduate and postgraduate studies there up to masters. And then I came and I worked for Monash, and I was responsible for quality assurance, and the campus was quite small in 2004 when I joined. Now, my first engagement with Laureate came about 3 years ago, and in a very, very different context. I was approached by Laureate International Education, as they are known. I was approached by them to do my PhD at Liverpool University in the UK. I didn't know anything about Laureate. I knew I wanted to do my PhD, I knew it was time to do my PhD, and I had to get to it. At that stage, I've written to 3 or 4 public institutions in South Africa where I've worked, where I know the people. I've applied to UNISA. I said to them, here I am, I want to do my PhD. Now, to put that in context, to do a PhD, the public institutions get a subsidy from the government, and they actually get 380,000 Rand subsidy for every single PhD students that they deliver. So I thought, they would jump at any opportunity to round up another PhD student. Up to this day, I've not had a response from UNISA, no interest from any other institution to come and do my PhD in South Africa. But Laureate contacted me and they said, don't you want to come and do it at Liverpool University? It's one of our partner institutions, and we offer a PhD in higher education management, which is my field of expertise. That's why I'm working in the management of Monash, and it was one of the main reasons that I joined Monash, is because that's my field. So Laureate pursued me diligently for days and days and days, and they convinced me about the quality and the standard of the PhD of Liverpool University. It became more and more attractive. It wasn't anything that I thought I would ever be able to do, and today I'm in my 3rd year finishing up my PhD at Liverpool in partnership with Laureate. So that's where my personal journey started with Laureate. About a year into my PhD, at the campus level, we started to investigate partnership opportunities for the campus because we felt we had to take it to a next level. We've done what we could. We've stretched Australia as far as we could, and we have to do something new now. And a few companies came up, a few institutions in South Africa came up. The Independent Institute of Education came up. Those of you who know Advotech, they own the Crawford Schools, they own Abbott's College, they own Varsity College. Good brands, part of the IIE family. They really desperate. They came to our door and knocked and said, we'll be your partner. So various partners approached us. To me, from the beginning, that was a very, very strategic decision as to who are we going to partner with. And next up came Laureate. So my personal experience of the quality of support that they gave me, the way they recruited me, the way they made a payment arrangement for me to be able to pay for my PhD in pounds, to do it over 3 years, to do it long distance, and up to this day, I'm still in contact with those people that recruited me at the beginning from Laureate. Immediately I felt, but this is a partner that I would want to work with. And 2 years later, here we are with 10 transactions agreements outlining our partnership with Laureate. So my engagement with Laureate, as I always say to staff and students, that nothing that they've said, nothing that I've heard in hours and hours and hours of negotiations and conversations has ever made me concerned about what the quality of provision was going to be once we step into this partnership. It was a privilege to be part of the negotiation processes, to travel all over the world to some of the 72 institutions that's part of the Laureate network. So we physically traveled to those institutions, and I saw Laureate in action. I saw what they did. I heard the stories from the students and the staff of what they did in Madrid, what they did in Mexico, what they did in Chile, what they did in Peru. And I actually saw it with my own eyes. And I had my own very personal experience as being a student in the Laureate family. So we commenced on this journey, and throughout the focus of the Monash side of the negotiations, my job in those meetings was always to protect the quality of the provision within the partnership, to protect the brand of Monash and to protect the content that we have and the fact that we are associated with an internationally recognized university. So that was my brief. So in these negotiations, that was what I listened out for. That was the focus of my engagement with them. So we spoke for hours on land and buildings and expansion of infrastructure. You can imagine what the kinds of things are we doing. Service level agreements for ITS systems. We're doing library engagements. We're doing licensing. So you can imagine the kind of technicalities that can overshadow a negotiation process like that. But we continuously brought it back to what is the quality of the provision that we can bring to our students. So to pull it all together, for me, this partnership with Laureate will be very much to the advantage and to the increase of quality of the provision to our students. And the reasons for that would be, we're currently part of an international institution, increasing their sites of delivery all over the world, but we've exhausted what we can get from them. We've exhausted the program offerings, the possibilities that they provide us with. For instance, they don't offer something like hospitality. They don't offer dentistry. Those are the things that we need in the South African context, and we cannot get that from Monash. So partly the reason of the expansion into the Laureate family and how that can contribute to the quality and the extent of the provision to students is that we now have access to 72 other institutions that are top world-class providers in those areas. So we've opened up a whole new world of new programs and of sourcing content. So one of the agreements spell out how we can now source content, not only from Monash, and we will continue to do so, but how we can source contact from the best hospitality school in the world, Glion or La Roche, how we can source a sports management course from Madrid, where the Real Madrid brand is attached to that, how we can bring a branded sports management course to Monash South Africa, which would have never been possible within the Monash University context. So the bottom line is that the Monash brand is protected. They are committed to quality, they're committed to remaining in South Africa, and we are registered as a provider with that brand, with that association. That's part of our registration here. That's the permission that we have from the government to be here. But within that, we can now draw on all the possibilities within the Laureate network. So it doesn't only relate to curriculum, it also relates to methodology. When we work with Monash University in Australia, we restrict it to Moodle because they've opted for Moodle. When we work with Laureate, we have access to a whole range of learning management systems. So the quality of the provision can now be extended. We can, in our service level agreement, we can say, we're not going to go with Moodle anymore, we're going to take a different product from the Laureate family because that's a better quality and that's better suitable for our students. So it's about the content, it's about the curriculum, it's about the methodology, and then it's about the infrastructure. It's about being able to expand the quality of our facilities, the quality of our ITS infrastructure so that we can increase the quality of our provision. So in my view, there's no way that the partnership will drop the standard of provision. What you will see in future is that we maybe will be offering a diploma or a certificate, because we also have to look at the South African context and what is needed, what level of qualification is needed. So currently, we have commissioned market research companies to assist us to determine what are the types of qualifications that we need to offer. Very exciting, we're talking to law firms, we're talking about education, we're talking about health, we're talking about hospitality, we're talking about sports management, but we're also talking about, should it be a bachelor's degree? Would people want to come and do a bachelor's degree in a particular area, or should it be a postgraduate diploma, or should it be a diploma? What is the nature of that offering? Should it be online? Should it be 100% online? Should it be a blended delivery? So that's what we're working on at the moment. New discipline areas, new programs, sourcing content, sourcing methodology, and putting that into the suite of offerings at Monash South Africa. All of that will still have to go through the national accreditation processes as well as the Monash University approval processes. So we're not going to take something from Glion or from La Roche, irrespective of how wonderful and world-renowned they are, unless we've ran it by the quality authorities and agencies here in South Africa. My head is on the line. If it's not approved, accredited by the government, our registration is at risk, which is my responsibility. So I will not allow this institution, as long as I'm here, to offer something that has not jumped the hurdles that it is supposed to jump. And further to that, because we're offering that under the Monash brand, whether it's Real Madrid, whether it's hospitality, it still needs approval by the council in Australia of Monash University, because their brand is attached to that. So that can give you some comfort of the level of approvals and systems, processes that are in place to ensure that we don't just take things that look sexy, that we don't just take things that we think will work, that we drop the standard, that we do things in a different way that's not up to standard, but that we maintain the quality provision of what we stand for. So for us, for Laureate, for Monash University, those things are not negotiable. So I will stop there and open it up for questions.
I just wanted to find out, you were saying that there may be, when you're mentioning diplomas and postgraduate diplomas, things like that, is that meaning that it'll change from offering degrees to diplomas, or it'll be both?
Very good question. Thank you for that. We will never stop offering the degrees that we're offering. We will never stop pursuing the upward articulation up to a PhD level. Those will be in addition to what we're offering now, because in that way we can give access to students in South Africa or in Africa that needs to study a different type of qualification. To give you an example, a bachelor's degree in our qualifications framework is on a certain level. A diploma is actually on the same level, but it's a different kind of qualification. It requires a one-year work placement. So we will not stop offering the degree and replace it with a diploma. We will supplement and say, for hospitality, a bachelor's degree is maybe not the best offering, but a diploma might be good. But we're not going to take the journalism degree and say now it's a diploma. We might say we want to add to the journalism program a fourth year, a postgraduate diploma that specializes in a certain area in journalism. So it's about supplementing, not replacing.
What sort of time scale are we looking at for new courses? Is it going to be a matter of months or a matter of years before we get the option for new degrees or maybe diplomas?
That's also a very good question. We already have some in process. So what we've actually done is we've outlined a 5-year plan for which new programs, which new courses are going to be coming on board in the next 5 years. So the first ones that you will see will be next year. So it is a matter of months. I'm a bit anxious thinking about it. We're introducing a Masters of International Business at the beginning of next year. We're introducing a part-time offering in professional accounting at the beginning of next year. We're offering for the first time a part-time offering in PR and marketing, a double major in the evenings for working adults. So you will already see new programs next year because we've already started to accredit those and approve those. Then 14, 15, 16, 17, up to 2018, we've outlined the programs that will be introduced each year. But you will see some new programs at the beginning of next year.
Okay, you said Monash is a brand name and Monash approves of anything that Monash South Africa is doing here. Does it mean that we will be no longer a part of Monash Australia, and what we want is only the brand name for sales or marketing reasons, or we remain a part of Monash Australia?
Yeah, we remain a campus of Monash University Australia. There's no change in our status and relationship with them. So for us it's a brand, it's a very important brand because it gives us the international recognition, but it's more than brand. It's association, it's affiliation, it's recognition. So our current relationship will not change. We're not going to branch off and become our own institution. We want to build the Monash South Africa brand. We want to make that known better in South Africa and in Africa, but within the association with Monash University. So nothing of that is going to change.
As he walks to the microphone, when are we going to be known as a university?
That's a very interesting question because it relies on the Higher Education Act. The reason why it's Monash South Africa and not Monash University South Africa is because the Higher Education Act in South Africa excludes any private provider to call themselves a university. So a few years ago, we've commenced with a process for applying for university status and for use of the word university. And the government does not have a process in place for such applications. We, however, forced them and say, we looked at the Act and we thought through it, we got legal advice as to how can we get past the Act. Because there's two things that you can do. You can challenge the Act or you can find a loophole in the Act. The loophole that we found in the Act is that it actually says that it can be a university if the Minister of Education awards the status of university. So we referred them to that section of the Act and we put in our application. It was accepted up to the minister's table. At that time it was Naledi Pandor, and the ministry changed and we had a new Minister of Education. So
The reason why I'm asking is would the partnership with Laureate strengthen our case?
It will definitely strengthen our case. So we continuously revisiting the application, we continuously adding, because they will look at the suite of offerings that we have, the types of offerings that we have. So the Laureate Association will definitely strengthen our case to continuously pursue the university status. That is, by the way, also one of the transaction agreements deals with obtaining university status. So that's one of the objectives within the transaction document, and we will continue to challenge the Act until such time. We also got to the point, which is the flip side of that argument, that some of the best universities in the world, if you look at the rankings, MIT, RMIT, they don't have the word university in their names. So we decided we're not going to be defined by that. We're going to move forward with our brand because we've got Monash Universities backing that up. But we, in the South African context, we do feel that it's important. So we'll not be bogged down by that, but we'll continue to pursue it. And the partnership will strengthen our case.
My question is, as students of Monash South Africa, we actually have access and we have options to go study in one of the Monash campuses, either in Australia, Malaysia, wherever. So with this partnership with Laureate, are we actually allowed, do we have the option to also apply to go study in other universities that Laureate partner?
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I wanted to make it actually during the briefing, is that it definitely expands your possibility for exchange and mobility. So part of the Laureate services agreements that we have is increased exchange from students, not only to the Australian leg of the business, but to the Laureate institutions as well. So they actually have an office for what they call internationality, which facilitates student exchange across the network. So again, one of the benefits to you as students and to us as staff to have increased opportunities for mobility.
Morning. We know Monash is in the top 100 of international universities, but how powerful is our degree? Will it affect anything in the whole way of let's say, because Monash University, right, is not a university yet, it's a college, we're seen as a college in South Africa. So how powerful is our degree in South Africa?
The Monash South Africa is part of Monash University, so the rankings of Monash University includes the South African campus. So whenever an institution is ranked on the Times Higher Education Supplement ranking system, all the branch campuses are taken into account. So as a branch campus, we participate in the ranking exercise, which gives you the internationally recognized degree. So I would not agree that Monash South Africa is not recognized as a university in South Africa, because our classification is still that we are a university, but we're a private university. So for us, it's about establishing the brand and to make that known to people that it's not a college. And that's why your question is so important about what type of offerings are we going to do, because we don't want to water down the perception that we are becoming this or we're becoming that. So part of the transaction agreements is that we will not go lower than a certain level of offering to put us in the college band. The college band would be the post-matric, even prior foundation program level. So we've made that strategic decision to retain our offerings on the higher education level.
How are you planning on letting the whole of South Africa know that? Because currently people don't know at all about Monash. They think it's just one of colleges.
Yeah, it's a continuous process of branding. I'm sure all of you have seen the increased branding. You're hearing the advertisements. So what I can tell you is that there's a huge investment in addition to the partnership that Laureate has made. And I'm probably not supposed to give you the figure, but they have invested significant millions into sales and marketing. If you go to the sales and marketing department, if you look at the Africa Center, we're revamping the call center. We've made 12 appointments in the last 2 weeks for recruiters, for brand awareness people, for counselors, for career guidance counselors. So there's a significant investment within the partnership to expand the brand awareness. And we've also commissioned market research to determine how well known the brand actually is. What we found so far is that it's more well known in Africa than what it is in South Africa. So now we know how to focus our brand awareness campaigns from now onwards.